It's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman. It's great to be with you. On this Wednesday, there's something blue up in the sky. I don't know what it is. It's a very foreign thing to me driving in today. I saw a little bit of blue through the clouds. Maybe we're getting there. I think so. We've been listening to the first Warren 5 weather forecast. Looks like we're headed for the 80s. Going to get really, really nice. And everybody will be in a good mood. And we can forget about all the things that we hear in the news or bothering us about this fight between Kansas and Missouri for these sports teams that are getting us down. We can forget all those things and just enjoy our summer. Looking forward to that. We got a fine show for you today. In just a little while, Dan Bongino, who previously had a very popular show right here on KCMO Talk Radio, is investigating targeted violence against Christians in Seattle with the FBI. This is quite a story. This is a game changer. This is what you voted for. And we'll spend some time on that. Also, we've got a senator in Indiana that's not going quite as far as I am, saying the WNBA should be suspending Angel Reese, but he's very upset that the WNBA has allowed a player to call Indiana basketball fans racist with absolutely no apology, no anything. We'll fill you in a little bit more on that. One former football coach is quitting the Senate and thinks a basketball coach should take his spot. We got all kinds of fun stuff for you today on Uncanceled, and we'll get right to it. And the story everybody's talking about has been the lead story on the news many times, and I feel like I have to be careful with a 1-hour show not to wear this topic out, because I don't want you to think every day that you turn this show on, that's all I'm going to talk about. But to be honest, it's kind of this, at least for the next month. The Chiefs aren't playing. Football isn't on. Trump's doing his thing. The election cycle is over. It's not midterms. We don't have the tariff deals done yet. We're waiting on big news. We're waiting on a lot of things. And I'm absorbed by this Kansas versus Missouri fight for the Royals and Chiefs. And it occurred to me, and I was listening to Pete's show earlier today. He had unbelievable guests on. Ty Masterson was on, just a tremendous interview from the Kansas Senate. He had Patrick Tuohy in, another great discussion from those guys about the way they see things. And it occurred to me as I not just listen here, but as I watch the local news, read the accounts, that this is a very Missouri-centric story. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. These teams have been in Missouri from day one. Since the Chiefs moved from Dallas, they've been in Missouri. Since the Royals' inaugural season, 1969, they've been in Missouri. So that's perhaps the reason it's a Missouri-centric story. But I think there's a fatigue in this town of hearing from Mayor Q, and I'm telling you, the dude just keeps doing 180s. You know, one week he's doing cartwheels. We're going to have both teams in Kansas City, Missouri. The next he says we're not beggars, and we got bigger things to figure out with governance than this. We get Clay County involved. We have Jackson County Executive Frank White, who's basically in Joe Biden's basement somewhere hiding. Nothing happening on either of those fronts. People in Clay County say they don't know anything that's going on. The Royals and Chiefs have been after plan and site after site. You know, one of the discussions earlier today with Patrick Tuohy was there's no details. Well, all we've had is details. We had East Village. We had Crossroads. We had Sprint Campus in Overland Park. We've had Chiefs complete renovation. We've had Royals move. Chiefs build a stadium at the Jackson County Sports Complex. We've got north of the river. We've got Washington Square Park. That's all we've had is details. Every single one of them has failed. That's the headline here. We're spending too much time on Missouri. Missouri's house is in disorder. They've got a special session coming that people don't. There are people that believe, smarter than me, I don't know, I don't have a prediction on this, smarter than me, that say they're not passing anything for the Royals and Chiefs. It's just not going to happen. The deadline of June 30th, and you heard Masterson tell Pete Mundo this earlier, is flexible. He's willing to move it for a short period of time. 30 or 60 days is what I think he said. Not a year, 30 or 60 days. So let me approach this story now from the Kansas point of view. And again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I've given you my own opinion. I think a brand new dome stadium that is open more often than not at the Legends would be iconic for Kansas City. And I think of all the sites I've seen, the Royals North Kansas City is the best place. So I'm really not picking on state lines here. I'm not. But I do live in Kansas, and I spend more of my time around people from Kansas than Missouri. Not exclusively, certainly, but I don't know a single person in Kansas that wants the Royals. They're like, we don't care what happens to the Royals. Like, Kansas can't be plan B for the Chiefs. They need to be plan A, and they are right now. To use a golf term, they're the leader in the clubhouse. They've got an offer on the table that's sensational. Kansas is the leader in the clubhouse. They need to act like it. They've got a 3-shot lead. The guys chasing them down are on the 15th hole. Yes, they could go birdie, birdie, birdie and tie them or make an eagle and win the darn thing. Yes, but you're the leader in the clubhouse. Act like it. Everybody I know in Kansas wants the Chiefs. Nobody really wants the Royals because we don't know a site. We don't know where it would be. We can't look at the Royals and go, oh, this would be really cool in Kansas. We can, however, look at the Chiefs by Margaritaville and the Speedway and the casinos and the soccer and the minor league baseball and the American Royal, which is being built, and all the things being built there and go, wow, will this be a destination for Kansas City and the state of Kansas? Everybody's thinking that. And they're thinking this would be where the Chiefs could spend the most money and build the coolest place for the best football team on the planet to play. Yes, there's real pride in that. And Kansas doesn't sound like they're acting like this. I like Ty Masterson. He said a lot of great things today that I'm like, I'd vote for that guy. What I didn't like hearing him say was he could extend this thing for 30 or 60 days. Let me ask you this. If you're an elected public official in the state of Kansas, mark the tape, play it everywhere. Why the hell would you extend this thing past June 30th? What on earth are you thinking, even suggesting you would? This has been going on for 3.5 years in Kansas City. Enough is enough. You've given the best offer. It's been on the table for over a year. Tell the Chiefs to crap or get off the pot. Here it is, boys. Mark Donovan, Clark Hunt. This is it. We're moving on. We got other things in Kansas. If it expired and Missouri dilly-dallies around for a year and still doesn't get anything done, you can always go back in and pass another star bond, a new one. It may be hard. It may be complicated. But you're elected officials a year down the road or 2 years down the road, figure it out. But not right now. You're the leader in the clubhouse. Oh, you're leading the golf tournament. You're sitting there having an iced tea waiting for the other guys to finish. Oh, you know what? Just go ahead and tell them to come on in and we'll go play sudden death extra holes. No, you're winning. So if you're in Kansas and you like what I'm saying, and I don't care whether you love the idea of the stadium or hate it. I don't know why anybody would hate it. It's not your money. There's no taxpayer money in this from Kansans. But there's only two people in Kansas. You either want this, the Chiefs at the Legends, or you hate the idea of the Chiefs at the Legends. Either way, you want this to expire on June 30th. The Chiefs need a deadline. They need a real deadline. I'm going to tell you right now what you should do. The main guy here in the Kansas City area is Sean Tarwater. He lives out here in the Blue Valley, Stillwell area. He puts his email and his cell phone number on his government site. Do you know what even 10 phone calls or emails will do for somebody who's on a committee like this? He's the chair of the Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development Committee. Sean Tarwater, right here in Kansas City. Call him or email him. Go grab a pen if you got to write something down. I'll get it for you in a moment or two. These are elected public officials. I'm not doing anything wrong by giving an email or a phone number here. You can do the same thing by getting a hold of Masterson or the House Speaker Hawkins or David Tolan, the Lieutenant Governor. There is a deadline of June 30th. You got to stick to this deadline if you're Kansas. This is your shot. What you say is June 30th is the deadline, and you will produce to us, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even talking about the Royals right now because I don't know anybody that really cares that much. You must produce to us a letter of intent by June 30th. A letter of intent that recognizes that our offer is the best offer you've got at this point. It names a site for where you want to build and an exclusive negotiating period with the state of Kansas to finalize an agreement. It commits the Chiefs to nothing. They don't have to do it. But you've got to make them sign a letter of intent and get this public on the record. And you know what? The Chiefs would probably like being forced to do that. Because if they did that, then my gosh, what would Missouri have to do? Those are the three things. You recognize this offer as the best thing we have. You name the side of the project as the Legends. And you design a negotiating period, whatever that is, 90 days, 180 days, whatever it is, where you will work with the state of Kansas on a star bond agreement for a new stadium. It does not bind you to doing this, but the star bonds are gone. It's over. June 30th is passed. You're in this window negotiating with Kansas. Then, Kansas City Chiefs, if you want to stab every person in the state of Kansas in the back by walking out of this, good luck to you. Selling your suites and all your corporate sponsors and all these people in Kansas who will be feeling like a girl that just got kicked to the curb. You're not asking much, state of Kansas. You're in the big leagues now. You've never been in the big leagues. You people in Topeka have to understand where you are. Clark Hunt is smarter than you. The Chiefs have more money than you. You only have taxpayer money. These are big, bold, powerful people that with one phone call can change industry and influence and business in Kansas City and in the state of Kansas. They can do that. You want them to be your partner. Stop worrying about the American Royal. The American Royal is $375 million of bonds. They're going to sell $375 million worth of bonds for the American Royal at the Legends, and you don't think people are going to buy the Chiefs star bonds? It's staggering what's going on with some of these things. Prioritize in the state of Kansas. Call Sean Tarwater. He's got an 816 number. He went to high school at Rockhurst and UMKC, but he's a Kansan. 816-729-7827. That's 816-729-7827. Or send the email to Sean Tarwater, SEAN, Sean Tarwater at gmail.com. He's an elected official right here in the Kansas City area. Sean Tarwater at gmail.com. It doesn't get easier than that. I'm telling you right now, you get 10 emails or phone calls to this guy, you won't believe what kind of attention you'll get in Topeka. Nobody contacts politicians anymore. They'll occasionally show up for a cup of coffee or something at an event and try to grab a guy for 30 seconds and vent about somebody's neighbor's dog not having a fence. But they don't really hear groundswells from people. You can call my radio show if you want, but you're better off calling Sean. If you live in Kansas, call him. Whether you like the idea or not, June 30th must pass. Do not extend this. There's nothing good in extension for Kansas. Nothing. You tell them by June 30th, you want a letter of intent from the Kansas City Chiefs to negotiate with the state of Kansas. We recognize your offer. Here's our site. We're going to announce that publicly, and we're going to enter an exclusive negotiating period of 90 or 120 or 180 days, whatever Kansas wants to do. That's the negotiating period. You will have exclusive rights to negotiate with the state of Kansas to finalize a deal. That's extending the deadline, for God's sake. They're not going to have the deal done by June 30th. Let the star bonds expire, and you tell the Chiefs they're expiring. And once this is gone, good luck with your friends in Missouri, because we're out. We are out. Do it. Give them a taste of their own medicine. Let's wrap this crap up. If you're Kansas, grow some balls. Go win this thing. You're the leader in the clubhouse. 913-408-7957 is the number to call. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. So I reduced the Royals' role in all this in that opening monologue today for a very important reason, and that is you just don't even think about not playing hardball with the Royals. If you've got star bonds, if they want to go to the Legends too, like catty corner across the Chiefs, their own area or whatever, if they're working on something like that, want to do that, you let them, but you just tell them it's June 30th or nothing. I would never even revisit the Royals. I just tell them good luck. There's no other place to go in Kansas that I can think of that makes any sense whatsoever other than Legends. And the Royals have basically made it sound like they're not interested in doing that because they think that's where the Chiefs are going. So if the Chiefs are going there, they don't want to be around the Chiefs. These teams don't want to be together anymore. But this is really simple. We sit here and we pee and moan all day long about our politicians, our elected politicians, and the things that they do. This is your chance. You've got a chance to affect something. Whether if you really want this for Kansas, if you live in Kansas and you want this, make the call and tell them, do not extend this deadline and get a letter of intent. It's no more complicated than that. They don't have to sign a final contract. Sign a letter of intent that extends a negotiating period with the star bond. It can easily be done. But we're not just going to blanket extend the star bonds and go on the way we're going. It's not the way this works. You know, you can't wait for the guy to ask you to marry him forever. Eventually, you just got to say, well, he's never going to ask me to marry him. Let's go. I'm out. I'm going to find a no man, somebody else. And if you hate the idea of the teams coming, you darn sure want this to expire June 30th because you don't want it to happen at all. Everybody listening, for it or against it, should want this to expire on June 30th. The only people that would consider not doing it are weak-ass politicians. Weak politicians. So the guy we heard from a couple of months ago in that committee meeting that excoriated the people that wanted to take the gambling funds and reapportion those away from the sports teams and to the schools was Sean Tarwater. He said, we've got one team and we're really close on the other. He said it publicly in a meeting in Topeka. Didn't realize it was going to wind up on YouTube where like 11 people saw it, but they did. And we had it for you here and we played it and we talked about it. Sean Tarwater is easy to reach. He's got a powerful position. He's the chair of the Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development Committee. Sean Tarwater at gmail.com. It's SEAN. Sean Tarwater at gmail.com. Better yet, call his cell phone. He puts it on his site. 816-729-7827. Do not extend past June 30th and get a letter of intent. Otherwise, see ya. To both teams, good luck with all those people in Missouri who can't figure anything out. Here is Steve in KCK. Welcome to Uncanceled. Steve, how are you?
Hey, Jim. I think it's a pretty interesting idea. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone's doing anything until Kansas gets them both. So I think we're kicking the can down the road on this thing. You kind of mirrored what I said. I don't think Missouri is serious about this at all. I think they're just throwing stuff out there to sort of like make it look like Kehoe looked like he tried to do something because Parsons just kind of put all this stuff on his doorstep. I mean, there's no reason for Missouri to put up a good offer. And this is part of the reason why Kansas is going to infinitely just kick it down the road because they're all about the Cardinals. They really don't care they don't care if the Royals stay. They don't care if the Chiefs stay. The Chiefs are it's not a concern for the St. Louis legislature. They probably love the Battlehawks. They get 30 or 40,000 teams. You guys have got to understand in Missouri that this is all about St. Louis.
Well, it was. Wait, Stephen. Wait, you and I have been around long enough to know that that's what the state has been. But but I'm not sure it's that way anymore. The difference between St. Louis and Kansas City has never – look, there was a time when we were like the little brother and they kind of crapped on us over here, the whole thing. Kansas City is 25 times cooler than St. Louis now, and we need to act like
right.
it, and Jefferson City needs to reflect that. The problem that Missouri has, it's a big, vast state with different areas of things that are important. There's tourism areas, there's lake areas, there's mountainous areas, there's urban city areas, there's corn areas, there's the southeast corner where people think they're actually living in Tennessee. I mean, those people care about the Titans and the Tennessee Volunteers more than they care about the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's a big, wide, giant, diverse state with more people, and that's working to their disadvantage at this point, I believe.
Well,
and the
right,
other thing is, in Kansas, you're trying to steal something. And when you get something new, you're much more willing to do it.
Well, I don't think that we're stealing anything. They're just giving it. They haven't given
anything
yet. Maybe I'm living in the past.
All right, I'm with you, Stephen. You're a great caller. I don't see Missouri giving anything away yet. I see a house in disorder all over the state everywhere we look. They've not completed any kind of a deal, but I don't think they want them. I think most people don't want them to leave. They're just not sure how they're going to keep them. It's a wild situation. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Welcome back to Uncanceled. I'm Kevin Kietzman, your humble host. I saw an interesting story about Dan Bongino, who is the deputy director of the FBI, and he says he's investigating targeted violence against Christians at a rally in Seattle. So here's what happened in Seattle. A group of Christians decided to show up. They watched in Seattle and saw all these different rallies that are had by all these fringe groups. You know all these groups. I don't need to rattle them all off. You know who they are. They're muckrakers. We know what these folks are all about. Every corner of the leftist sphere goes and has some sort of a demonstration. So a group decides we're going to have a Christian rally. And they go do this, and it's announced, and, of course, people heard about it. And this is in an area where all the wackadoodles hang out. And since the Christians are going into the lion's den here, where all the wackadoodles are, you knew it wasn't going to go well. And it didn't. So the crazy people, Antifa and LGBTQ plus community, all these different people came after them that day. They reorganized. So we're going to counter-organize the Christian rally and go get in their faces. Because we don't like Christians and we don't like religion. You see, we're atheists, all of us. Okay. So what happens is the police make 8 arrests. Nobody's hurt. It didn't get overly violent. But then the mayor made a statement, and this is where Bongino took note, and the FBI. The mayor's name is Bruce Harrell. Obviously, he's a Democrat. And he referred to this as a far-right rally designed to provoke a reaction, unquote. And says it won't be tolerated in Seattle. So arrests were made. I don't have the breakdown on the arrests of how many were leftists and how many were Christians. I don't know. But referring to Christians organizing a rally as far right to provoke a reaction is interesting. There may be a tinge of truth in that, but that was a counteraction to what goes on all the time in Seattle, which is exactly what Christians are supposed to do, is spread the good word of peace, brotherly love, all those things. And I'm sure they attempted to do that. So Bongino is like, yeah, we're going to take over this investigation. And this is the best line yet. He said this was targeted violence. The FBI is investigating targeted violence, which is a crime. Targeted violence is a crime of its own. If this was targeted violence against Christians, Dan Bongino wants the mayor of Seattle and the people who were arrested to understand that, quote, freedom of religion is not a suggestion, unquote. And I love that line. That's exactly right. It is a right. It's not a suggestion. Now, we've known for a long time that people on the left don't understand the difference between a right and something that's a privilege. They get this wrong all the time. They think health care is a right. Health care is not a right. Social Security is not a right. Rights are in your Constitution and your Bill of Rights. There's all kinds of great rights that we have, but Democrats think you have a right to an abortion. No, we have laws that either allow you to have one or don't allow you to. So that doesn't mean it's legal everywhere in the United States. They get confused on this all the time. When Bongino says freedom of religion is not a suggestion, that's exactly right. It is not a suggestion. Freedom of religion is your right. Freedom of speech is your right. These are inherent rights that we all have as citizens of the United States. And I love this. And I say make an example out of them, which we're not supposed to do with the law. That's unequal justice. But when it comes to rights, if we can somehow educate Americans more about what a right is versus a privilege. Like when I was a partner in my former company, one of the most outrageous expenses we had was health care for employees. And I used to, time and time again, people would come in and complain about what they were paying for health care. I said, do you know how much we're paying? And they're like, yeah, but it's my right to have health care. I'm like, it's not your right to have health care. It's part of your compensation package. Now, here at Cumulus, it's pretty cool. I see these really nice statements every month or whatever that you get on pay or whatever. And it says what I'm paying towards something like health insurance and what Cumulus pays. We could never get through to our employees that it wasn't their right to have health insurance, that we were literally about to go broke paying these premiums on their behalf, which typically a company pays about 4 times or 5 times what you're paying. It's way more than what you're paying. That's not a right. That's a privilege or a perk with a job. It's not a right. I think America needs a really strong lesson in what rights are, and maybe this is one. This is a very small, minor thing that happened, but it's a great way to show people what your right is. And your right is freedom of religion, and you have the right to assemble peacefully. And they went through all the proper paperwork in Seattle. And then the mayor sailed them out to sea on the deal and called them a far-right organization trying to provoke a reaction. Absurd. A senator from Indiana is not happy with Angel Reese, the WNBA player. Jim Banks is one of the senators from Indiana, and he wants her to apologize for basically saying that the Indiana Fever fans last week in Indianapolis were racist, and she heard really bad things directed toward her. The WNBA initially came out 48 hours later and said, well, we don't have any evidence yet. Then they went another week and doubled down yesterday and said, to heck with it. We've been at this for 10 days. We can't find anything that sounds like racism from anybody. Not one other person in the entire building backed up Angel Reese. Well, God bless Jim Banks. He wants an apology from her. I don't care about her apology. She won't mean it. I want her suspended. The WNBA is feckless. They are weak. They're almost as weak as the Kansas politicians that want to extend the June 30th star bond deadline, but not quite that weak. No, she made a fake race claim. Is that a crime? No, because you have the right to free speech. It's, people say you can't scream fire in a crowded theater. You can, unless somebody gets hurt. And then you're liable for that. You caused the problem. Then it's a crime. It's not a crime to actually say it. You can say anything you want. If it doesn't hurt anybody, they can't do anything to you. Again, you have rights. Angel Reese can do all the race baiting she wants. So I don't think the law can go after her, but the WNBA should suspend her. As an order of business, instead of putting out press releases that we're going to watch fan conduct and, Senator Banks is making statements about how good Indiana fans, we have the best fans. No. If you want to tip your cap to the fans and acknowledge the fans, you suspend the race baiter. Let her sit for a game. Banks has got this one wrong. He wants a meaningless apology from her. I appreciate that he's on it. More attention needs to be brought to this. The Jussie Smollett thing was covered up for years. You guys all know the history of all these things. This race baiting's got to end. It's just got to end. And I don't think that's nearly far enough for the WNBA. I think they should flat suspend her for a game and take her pay away and make a statement, not that we're going to monitor our fan behavior and our fan code. No. We're going to watch our players' behavior and what they say on behalf of this league. Because here's what we can't have. We can't have the WNBA continue to be the racist league it's been. And it is absolutely fundamentally at its core a racist league that was set up by NBA owners that had guilt that they were making money off men and there was no league for women. And so they poured money into this thing and lost and lost and lost. It's the original DEI program. Let's let the women play basketball in front of 300 people and lose $7 million this year. That's okay. I've still got my NBA team. It's worth a couple billion. I'm fine. That's what it's been. Then Caitlin shows up and they're selling out arenas and they're getting TV ratings and they're going to all make more money. They got to get that DEI, lazy quota, race culture out of this sport. If you're from a different country, it doesn't matter. If you're the white girl, Brittany Griner, you can't be complaining about the white girl. That's not how this works. They got a problem on their hands. They got a problem because Caitlin Clark isn't going to stand for this forever. I can promise you that. She is the draw. And I think I said this maybe last week, or I don't think I said it yesterday, but maybe. If Caitlin Clark was the farthest left liberal Democrat when she got into this league, by the time Trump's out of office, she's going to be a flag-waving MAGA Republican. She's going to be, because she is now the focus of more race-hating than anybody on the job in America. Caitlin Clark. Who works where there's more racism being directed toward them than Caitlin Clark in the WNBA? It's every night. It's physical violence. It's verbal abuse. It's a league that won't support her. It's unbelievable. She crazy. That girl needs to walk and just start her own thing. I don't love this story in Baltimore, but I sort of love this. I love the outcome of this story. I can't love the story because it's another carjacking. Two thugs are carjacking a 62-year-old dude. They bounce him around a little bit. He's trying to get to his car, and he does something that thwarts them for a moment or two. And maybe some people walk by, and they walk away, and he gets in his car, and then they come up to the window of his car, 62-year-old man, two young punks coming after him. And they get up the window of the car. They're still going to stop him, and they're going to steal his car. They're going to yank him out. And he reaches into his console and pulls out a gun. The two punks run. The gun's never fired. Good thing he had it. 62-year-old man was a rabbi. Rabbi with a gun thwarts punks in Baltimore. Love some of these stories. Absolutely love them. How about this one from the Netherlands? I can't find it on a map, I don't think. But they have a populist leader in charge now who says, we've got 2 weeks left to finish legislation and write it. The strongest border legislation in the world is what he wants for the Netherlands. We have 2 weeks to do it, or I'm collapsing the government. Now, I don't know exactly what collapsing the government is, but this is one of those countries with like 5 parties where nobody has 50 whatever percent. And I think it means people just get thrown out. If you collapse the government, the people who are in charge of their own party, I think they all get bounced in some way. I'm thinking kind of like a popcorn popper or something. I'm not sure, but I love that talk. This is the Trump effect. The Netherlands like, wait a second. We're 4 months into Donald Trump and nobody's walking into America anymore. It wasn't that hard. He's a populist leader and he says we can't do this anymore. We can't let people in the Netherlands. We're going to lose our country. It's spreading the world, and we do love it. We absolutely love it. We have numbers in from Arizona 2020. The Senate in Arizona did an audit over the last 4 years. 255,000 people voted early. There was no record of those votes. 23,000 voted by mail after they moved. 23,000 people voted twice. And the mail-in ballots, this is the year Biden won, 9,000 more came in than were sent out. They believe 50,000 of them total were counterfeit. The CDC has released their flu numbers, 38 million the year before COVID, 1.8 million the first year of COVID, 9 million the second year of COVID, 40 million the year after. Everything's changing with the CDC, health, RFK Jr. Pete did a great segment earlier today on RFK Jr. and things they're doing. They're no longer recommending the COVID shot for babies. Well, that seems reasonable. You have a healthy child, let's not jab them up with a COVID shot that didn't work. That with people who actually had the flu, that we called COVID, because it's very clear in the numbers now that they had the flu. And a lot of people that were healthy had the flu. Yeah, COVID was a thing for a very small percentage of people, but wow, it's nice to have the adults in charge. We absolutely love that. And we're kind of fans of Tommy Tuberville, who was the former football coach turned senator in Alabama. He says he's not going to run for re-election. He's going to go run for governor of Alabama. And he thinks Bruce Pearl, the basketball coach at Auburn, should run for this. He should go from a football coach at Auburn to the basketball coach at Auburn as the senator from Alabama. Probably not going to happen. I can't see Bruce Pearl going and leaving and doing that, but I do like stories like that, and I encourage any high-profile Republicans, see Dayton Moore, to run for office. Use your name recognition, especially in a place like, I don't know, Dayton Moore, District 3, where people really know your name? Where they know your name better than Dodge City? I'll bet you name recognition goes, Dayton Moore, for a non-player, has as good a name recognition as anybody in sports. In Kansas City, Andy Reid would be above him. Dayton Moore, District 3, sounds good to me. I'm not sure he's even considering that. I think he's considering running for Kansas governor. But it's all good, man. You can use your name recognition and go run and do good things for your country, and you're conservative. We are fans of yours right here at Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Mark, have you ever heard of the Indy 500 driver named Connor Daly?
I have not. I'm not a big racing fan, though.
Okay.
No, no slight to him.
He started way up high. He was in the best car he's ever been in, and he was very excited for the race. Then what happened?
Is he the guy that crashed?
No.
No? Okay.
This might be worse.
Oh, no.
He peed his pants. And admitted it.
Oh, no.
Before the race.
Oh.
He said, I've never urinated in my suit, my driving suit before, but it's not that uncommon. Some of these races are really long, and you can't get out of the car a lot of times. They're just really long. It's 4, 5, 6 hours.
Gotta wear the pens.
Yeah, and on a hot day, you have to hydrate a lot before the race. So you've drank a lot of Gatorade or whatever in advance. He said he was just so excited and nervous he did that. He finished 8th, so he didn't pee his pants on the track.
It didn't affect him that much.
Didn't seem to affect him. Bono was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Jimmy Kimmel asked him a question. These are two liberals, okay? So I thought this was terrible of Kimmel to do this. He asked him, Trump or Springsteen? And Bono sat back like this. Mark can see me. If you're watching the stream, he just kind of sat back like this, Like, well, that's not fair. And then Kimmel tried to lighten it with a little joke or a crack, and Bono said, well, there's only one boss, in America. And everybody cheered and laughed and had a great time. He didn't leave Bono any room for error. That was a terrible thing to ask him. He's just a rock star from Ireland. What the hell?
Yeah, that's odd. Very odd.
You like U2?
I do.
Their songs are great. Oh, have you heard of the artist Lorde?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She sang the song Royals.
Yep.
She's got a new song coming out this week called Man of the Year.
Really?
Yeah, in the video, she's topless, and she's looking at her own chest like Brittany Griner and seeing if she's a man or a woman. Like she can't decide. A few years ago, she said it was great being a cisgender white female with a lot of money. Now she says, this is an unbelievable quote, my gender got way more expansive when I gave my body more room.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Apparently she thinks she's a dude now. Lady looks like a dude. Lord. Man of the Year will not be Song of the Week ever on my podcast. I can promise you that. The Vince Show is coming up next.